Raised by Wolves has completed Season 2, and our brains are melting even faster than poor Vril's face. Too soon? There's a lot to unpack in the Season 2 finale, and it says a lot that the episode feels more like a brief pause than a definite conclusion for the show. In short, there will be plenty more religious symbolism and messed up sci-fi hijinks on the way if the series gets renewed for Season 3. So here's everything you need to know about Season 3. So when will it be released? So here's the bad news. Season 3's release date has yet to be announced, but only because the show was never actually renewed for a third season. However, we expect HBO Max will make the confirmation announcement about the renewal very soon. So fans shouldn't lose hope just yet, as series creator Aaron Guzikowski revealed to Collider in February 2022 that he's already working on scripts for Season 3. It doesn't require the renewal for him to keep writing, as he needs to make more source material in case the series gets the green light. Guzikowski called the show his entire universe, which says a lot about his commitment to the craft. He also called himself a method writer rather than a method actor, as he believes he exists within Kepler 22b himself. Like every show that had the misfortune of running in the last couple of years, Raised by Wolves was impacted by the pandemic too. The first and second seasons were split by a significant amount of time due to COVID-19 and the lockdown problems. As a result, we can't accurately determine when the third season of Raised by Wolves will be released, but that doesn't mean we can't figure out some patterns ourselves. Assuming that the show is renewed soon, expect to see Season 3 at some point in 2023. This is because the CGI work is pretty hefty and will probably take a while to perfect. Now let's take a look at the cast. Who's returning? Despite the fact that there's no official Raised by Wolves Season 3 cast lineup, we can guess some names. Almost all of the original cast members are expected to return in the third season. Vril and her scary serpent baby both died in previous episodes, indicating that Morgan Santo will not return in the following season, except, of course, if she appears in some flashbacks. It's also unknown whether Travis Fimmel will appear in the third season. He dies, but owing to a series of bizarre occurrences, he's reincarnated, not as himself, but as another entity. If that ending doesn't make sense to you, well, join the club. The weird upside-down hanging situation suggests the chances of him returning are pretty high. Some assume that Marcus has become a conduit for the entity. That means Travis Fimmel will return, even if Marcus does not. When the trailers are released, we'll find out more about what's going on with Marcus. The wait for the announcement may be long, but it will be well worth it. And to give you some more hope, Guzikowski himself stated in an interview that he wants Travis to appear in the third season. We don't know if you heard, but Sue, Mary, played by Niamh Algar, was intended to die in the first season. She escaped her early death, only to be converted into a tree in the second season. So you definitely shouldn't expect to see Algar in the threequel either. But what about the other characters who didn't die or suffer a terrible fate? We're hopeful that all of them will return. Next, Raised by Wolves Season 2 finale. Major questions about what the Kepler 22b is even happening. Raised by Wolves is a completely unique, surreal show that draws us in not because of its secrets, but because of the richness and dynamic life of the alien world it has created. This, of course, includes the captivating individuals that live in it. It's more interesting to investigate than to solve, to be honest. Season 2 has been even more exponentially compelling than the first. Having said that, the Season 2 conclusion, Happiness, left viewers with a lot of unanswered questions, one of which is grandmother's ulterior motives. One of the best parts of Raised by Wolves is how it balances its treatment of believers against non-believers, but also how it constantly makes us question Mother, Lamia, and her motives. Grandmother possesses old technology that is even more advanced than Mother or Father's, and Mother's initial hatred to her appeared ill-advised, if not harsh. But once again, it appears that Mother was correct. Grandmother is a master of manipulation, and the veil she shared with Mother to slay Snake God Eel Baby number 7 immediately ensnared Mother. Now let's take a look at the Raised by Wolves Season 3 plot. What in the name of Kepler 22b is even happening? Honestly, things aren't looking good for Mother, or for any of her children for that matter. Mother has become grandmother's hostage by the end of Season 2, confined in a prison-like simulation. Plans to degenerate the children into something less than human endangers the majority of our core cast. You can't keep a good necromancer down, so expecting to see Mother figure her way out and eventually escape grandmother's captivity in Season 3. And if what we talked about previously is correct, Marcus will most likely return as a Christ-like person who has been possessed by the entity. Is this a sign that Marcus will return, or that he, like Sue, has been lost? All of this and more will be addressed in Season 3, if and when HBO Max decides to continue the series. Mother and her children are the most vulnerable. The grandmother has wicked schemes that were almost successfully carried out in the second season. As a result, there would have been a lot of chaos. Raised by Wolves' third season will most likely begin here and try to untangle each problem. But knowing the bizarre show, we're probably going to have more questions than answers. What does the entity want from the poor folks of Kepler 22b? What, after all, is the entity? Is that soul? It clearly knows about and interacts with Mithraic artifacts and relics, and it deliberately manipulates believers into some extremely heinous crimes. years. Grandmother has stated that it will only be appeased if the last humans transform into fish people and enter the acid sea. Why? Is this in any way related to the more vicious, werewolf-like beings we encountered in Season 1? Furthermore, why did the Trust seek to transform Paul and the others into lizard sacks? Is the Trust affiliated to Soul in any way? Is it in competition, as it is on Earth? Grandmother appears to be anti-Soul, yet she wishes to transform people into fish. Are those instructions actually working together? Is everyone simply attempting to get humans into the sea? Our brains hurt just thinking about all this for too long. What's with the fish people? One of the most bizarre turns Raised by Wolves took in Happiness was that too much gaming can turn you into a fish person. But at least it's a happy fish person. And can they procreate like that, or are they having trouble? Which is why one of them stalked Tempest and wanted her kid so badly. The fish people don't appear to be violent. Mother simply made that call as soon as they began hanging around. So what are they up to these days in the sea? Season 3 will hopefully disclose more. Where did the snake cult run off to? To return to Soul, the entity, the snake cult appears to be linked to it in some way. We learned in Happiness that Soul is most likely in the planet's core and hardwired into the surface via trees and whatnot. So what function does the cult play in this? Soul doesn't appear to want humans on the surface for some reason. So do they dwell in those massive holes in any way? Or do they simply offer routine sacrifices to the snake to be left alone? The shift in weather caused by Mother's galactic battle with her snake baby may compel the humans who remain to flee into the sea or the holes or caves. Those appear to be the only possibilities for the time being. And Campion is all for the fish path. People might just have to listen to the Chosen One and get some cool fins while they're at it. Raised by Wolves Season 3. Are there any trailers released yet? There's currently no trailer for Raised by Wolves Season 3. Aside from the trailer, there's no promotional film or teasers. Once the third season is confirmed, we'll most likely get material from it, and no one knows how long that will take. But not everything is as bleak as it appears. Raised by Wolves is a series with a strong crew, has mostly positive reviews, with a dedicated fan base, all of which are normally enough for a renewal. While we don't yet know what HBO Max has in store for the show, or how many seasons Guzikowski has planned, the show is definitely a big candidate for a possible renewal. That's a wrap for this video. What's the biggest question about Kepler-22b's folks that you want answered in Season 3? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.